here's a wild stat. The median American household has around $8,000 sitting in their bank accounts. Sounds like a good thing, right? But here's the catch. Most of that money is actually losing value every year because of inflation. And I'll be real with you, when I was hitting 10K in my bank account, I felt like I was like on top of the world.
Oh my God! Wow!
It was like the first time I ever had that much money, and I was like, yo, I've killed it. But what I didn't realize was that my money was sitting there slowly shrinking in value. And that's one of the biggest money lessons I've learned the hard way. So in today's video, I'm gonna break down why I never keep more than $10,000 in my personal bank account and how much cash you actually need and what to do with the rest so it's not just sitting there getting dusty. So let's start with the biggest issue. And this is why just letting your money sit in a bank account is actually not as good as it seems. So I want you to think of money in your bank account like a car parked in your driveway. It looks nice, feels safe, but it's not moving you anywhere, eating the whole purpose of even having one. And while it's parked, the gas tank, aka your money's value, is leaking thanks to inflation. I worked super hard to reach my 10K, but once I realized that it wasn't really doing anything, it felt like the biggest waste. Like imagine you leave 10K in a checkings account for 10 years, it's still gonna be 10K. But if you had just invested it, just like let it ride, and at the average stock market return at around 8% a year, it could have grown to over $21,000. It's the same 10K, but a totally different outcome. And really, like I said, that's like buying a car and never driving it. So like, what's the point? Now you might be thinking, but I don't need cash for emergencies, ? And you're totally right, but let's talk about how much you actually need, because that's the key piece, which moves us to the section I want to talk about, which is the emergency fund number. So how much cash should you actually be keeping in your bank? That's your emergency fund. And no, I'm not talking about vacations or sneakers. I mean like rent, food, car payment, bills, the basic necessities. Most people go by this, which is 3 to 6 months of essentials, but I like to stay conservative, so I stick with 6. So if your bills are like $2,000 a month, then you want to save like $12,000. Most people go by the rule, which is 3 to 6 months of your essentials. So if your bills are like $2,000 a month, that's $6,000 to $12,000 a year. I like to stay more on the conservative side, so do your own due diligence. If your income's unstable or you're self-employed, I'd also maybe aim for like 9 months even. And anything above that, that's not being safe in my opinion. That's just fear money sitting there losing value. I like to call it like fake comfort cash. It's visually pleasing, but it's not actually doing you any good. And now here's the problem. Even if you save the right amount, having too much just sitting there can trick you into spending more. Which leads me to my third point, which is the spending trap. This one hit me personally when I had like 15K saved up just chilling in my account, because I started to think that, hey, it's okay, I can spend a bit more because I have so much in my bank account. So this would be like ordering takeout, random Amazon buys that I really didn't need, weekend trips, anything related to that, because in my head, I felt like I was loaded. But that money wasn't really extra. Most of it was for emergencies or saving goals. Seeing a fat balance just tricks you into thinking that you've got room to spend. So that's why I shifted to a different kind of system. I automate everything now so that when I get paid, part of it goes straight into my investments or a high yield savings account, which is just a regular savings account, but it earns you a way much better interest rate. Ultimately creating this situation where it's like out of sight, out of mind. And beyond just spending habits, there's another risk people kind of overlook, and even your bank account itself has its limits. Which moves me to my fourth point, the FDIC insurance and short-term goals. Now, here's a fun fact a lot of people don't know. Banks only insure up to $250,000 per person per bank. That's FDIC insurance. So let's say the bank that you keep all your money in just randomly shuts down, like something happened to them and they don't work anymore. That's when the government is going to pay you a guarantee of that $250,000 that you're going to get back. Now, most of us aren't even near that number, let's be for real, but it shows even cash in the bank has its limits. And if you're at $250,000 just hard cash, I seriously question what you're doing with your life with that money. And if you're saving for something in the next 5 years, like let's say a wedding, car, house, you want to keep it safe, right? So that's where something like a high yield savings account or even something called like a money market fund, where it's basically a pretty conservative risk-free type of account that a lot of brokerages offer you that pay a pretty solid interest rate. Now, what you don't want to do is toss it into the stock market and risk needing it right away when the market dips. Imagine saving for a wedding and then the stock market just completely tanks. It's like another recession, and yeah, not the vibe. But the biggest hidden risk isn't just the insurance limit. It's actually inflation, because it's quietly eating away at your money every single year. Which moves us to my fifth point, inflation and opportunity cost. Here's where it really stings, and inflation is basically the act of where prices are going up every single year. I think this year it's like 2.9%. Let's just round it up to 3. You just lost 3% of the value of your money if it was just sitting in cash. So 10K in a checking account after 10 years, it still says 10K, but what that money can actually buy you is way less. It's the same example as why back in the day, like a Happy Meal at McDonald's could be like only $3, whereas nowadays it's $6. The opportunity cost of leaving money idle is super massive in that way. Like $10 nowadays barely buys me a Chipotle bowl now. And it doesn't stop there, because while your money's losing value, you're also missing out on something huge, which is called compound growth. And this is what I like to call the real danger, because every year that you don't invest, you're missing compounding interest. And compounding is where the magic really happens, allows you to grow your money way quicker. That's when your money makes money, and then that money makes more money. I know it's confusing, so let's run through this example. So let's say you park your $20,000 in a checking account for the next 30 years. After 30 years, it's still going to show up as just 20K. But if you invested that amount of money at an average return rate of 8% a year, which historically the overall stock market has been able to give you an 8% return rate, that could have grown to over $200,000. 6 figures of growth gone just because you left it sitting, which means that if you didn't invest, you didn't utilize the compounding growth, that means 6 figures of growth gone just because you left it sitting. So you're probably asking, okay, Brian, I understand all this. So if keeping too much in cash is a bad move, what's the right balance then? Well, let's break that down exactly where your money should go instead. So step number 1 is to establish your emergency fund. This is where essentially, like I said, you want to keep 3 to 6 months of essentials in a high yield savings account. That's your safety net, and instead of pennies in interest, you're actually going to earn like anywhere now like 3 to 5% a year. I linked the one I use in the description if you want to check it out. So for example, if I have 10K saved up in cash and I earn like 4% a year, I'm going to get $400 just by letting it sit in this high interest account. So step number 2 is identifying your short-term goals. If you need the money in under 5 years, you really want to play it more safe. That means that a high yield savings account or a money market fund is a really great kind of asset or tool to get you to that kind of safety net of being able to pull out whenever you need it. And the ultimate goal is to protect. It's not to really grow, just maintaining the value of the money. Now, if your goal is 5+ years away, that's where investing comes in. And the easiest way, in my opinion, not financial advice, none of this is official financial advice, just my own experience, but index funds are where I think the true potential lies. You can think of index funds like a basket of hundreds of top performing companies in one thing that you buy. So instead of guessing like which stock to buy, like should I buy Apple, should I buy Tesla, Microsoft, which is, high reward, high risk. But if you want a more conservative approach, then this is like just buying one thing and then it'll average out to give you a solid return rate. And one of the most popular ones are the ones that track the S&P 500, and that's literally the 500 biggest companies in the US. And I highly doubt all of them are going to just disappear on the face of the earth. And instead of keeping that in random accounts, you put it inside like tax advantage ones like a Roth IRA, something that you open up yourself, which is just a type of investment account that allows you to grow your money tax-free. There's also other options like a 401k that are usually provided to you through your job or employer, and you can buy index funds there as well. It allows you to grow your retirement income over time. And you allow that money to grow faster because of the given tax break benefits that those accounts give. If you want a more detailed video on what each account does, I can follow up with another video, but today we're just going to focus on just explaining the high level. And that's the full picture. At the end of the day, it's not about hoarding cash. It's about making sure every dollar has a job, it has a function to serve for you. Because you worked hard for that money, so you better make your money work hard for you as well. So yeah, that's why I don't keep more than $10,000 in my bank account, and having too much cash feels safe, but honestly, it's holding you back from building real long-term wealth. So if this video helped you, hit subscribe. I drop videos every week and I am going to try to stick to that, but I'm building wealth in my 20s as well. So I want to share how you can too. And let me know in the comments, how much cash do you keep in your bank account right now? I'll be checking and I'll replying to all the ones that I can get to, but I will see you ladies and gents in the next one. Peace.